Welcome to the NPC Energy podcast, the show that explores the really fascinating possibility that our reality might just be a meticulously crafted simulation.
Exactly.
Ever catch yourself wondering if that odd coincidence or that unexpected feeling of familiarity is, well, more than just chance? If so, you're in exactly the right simulated journey.
Indeed. Here at the NPC Energy Podcast, we navigate those strange occurrences and really intriguing theories that make you question the very fabric of your existence.
Yeah.
We aim to unpack these ideas in a way that sparks curiosity and maybe even a little bit of amusement.
And today, we're embarking on a particularly mind-bending simulated journey. 5 ways to hack the simulation with just your thoughts. Forget the mundane for a bit while we delve into this intriguing concept.
This is a topic that might really strike a chord with you, you know. Have you ever had that distinct sense of deja vu, where a moment feels intensely familiar, even though it will never happen before?
Oh, absolutely. Or like you've felt like certain events are unfolding with an almost predictable kind of scripted quality.
Exactly. And while, conventional science offers explanations for a lot of these things, today we're venturing into the realm of simulation theory, exploring them through a different lens.
Right. Our simulated journey today draws from various anonymous sources, lots of online communities, individual accounts that delve into these mental hacks.
And our mission in this simulated journey, it isn't to definitively prove or disprove the simulation hypothesis. Not at all.
No.
Instead, it's to take these really compelling ideas, examine them, and just see what resonates, what provokes thought, and perhaps even gets a wry smile.
All right, let's dive into our first alleged hack then. Reality shifts and script overrides. Okay, let's unpack this. The core idea here is that if our reality is a simulation, maybe our intentions can actually interact with its underlying code somehow.
What's interesting to consider here is the parallel with manifestation practices, this whole notion of intention scripting.
Yeah.
It really bears resemblance to setting goals, visualizing outcomes. But the simulation theory twist suggests the simulation itself might be responsive to these scripts, potentially leading to actual alterations in your experienced reality.
Right. It's almost like writing a wish list for your life with the belief that the sim might actually, fulfill it.
Yeah.
And the claim is that some individuals have supposedly shifted to alternate realities where these scripted changes have become their new baseline.
We actually encountered a pretty compelling account from a Reddit user known as @StarlightSuccubus. This person claims to have consciously shifted to a version of their high school experience where the cafeteria pizza was apparently surprisingly delicious.
Better pizza. I mean, who wouldn't script that?
Right. And their former romantic partner was just entirely absent from that timeline.
Better high school pizza. That's a relatable desire.
Yeah.
But the idea that simply intending it could rewrite your past, that's where things get really interesting. To illustrate the, shall we say, ambitious nature of some of these purported shifts, let's consider a humorous example of how someone might try to script their reality like they're the main character in a video game.
And this brings up a key question, doesn't it, about the perceived degree of agency within this simulated reality. The concept of how to script, like a main character, really highlights the often fantastical nature of the desires people talk about.
Picture someone scripting this, right? Upon waking, I find myself in a luxury penthouse constructed entirely of Doritos.
Doritos. Right?
I possess the powers of a level 99 mage with an inexhaustible supply of magical energy. And inexplicably, my landlord not only cancels my rent indefinitely, but also gives me a monthly stipend.
Wow. It's wonderfully absurd, isn't it? And it really underscores that wish fulfillment aspect of this whole idea.
Absolutely.
What's fascinating is the juxtaposition, the ordinary desires, like better pizza, alongside these really extravagant, almost mythical elements. It suggests a yearning not just for improvement, but for a fundamental change to the rules governing their perceived existence.
Okay, moving on to our second alleged hack, quantum thinking and probable path hopping. Now, this one ventures into the more, theoretical realm of quantum mechanics.
The underlying idea here sort of blends certain interpretations of quantum mechanics with the law of assumption, that principle of what you believe to be true manifests as your reality.
So if we connect this to the simulation theory framework, the thought is that every decision, maybe even every single thought, creates a split in reality, like choosing different paths in a branching story.
Pretty much. The theory posits that our thoughts operate on a certain frequency, And by concentrating on a particular frequency, we can potentially align ourselves with a different sim version of our lives.
Okay, so it's like tuning a radio receiver to a different station, but instead of music, you're tuning into an entirely different version of your personal timeline. That's a mind-bending thought.
It really is.
We even heard an interesting story from a listener, Ben from Denver. He experimented with this after, let's just say, a particularly engaging movie about multiple realities.
Ah, yes. And what stands out about Ben's story is how a seemingly minor event was interpreted through this very specific lens. He became convinced he had actually shifted timelines after finding his ex-partner's toothbrush.
Right.
In the exact spot where his roommate's comb usually was. He even said he felt a residual energy from it.
Wow. Well, Ben's experience, well, totally anecdotal, really illustrates the subjective way people interpret these potential shifts. A misplaced toothbrush becomes evidence of a huge reality alteration. It makes you wonder how much our perceptions actively shape the reality we experience, whether it's simulated or not.
And that raises an important point about correlation versus causation, doesn't it? Did Ben's focused thinking genuinely cause this object to appear, or was it just an odd coincidence he then interpreted through this theory's framework?
Good question. Now, for something a bit more unconventional. Hack number 3, the glitch intention method. This isn't about subtle influence or quantum alignment. This is about deliberately trying to, introduce anomalies into the system.
What's intriguing about this approach is its almost subversive nature. Instead of trying to gently nudge the simulation, the idea is to engage in absurd behaviors, things so far outside the norm that they might confuse the underlying code.
Right.
Potentially triggering a system reset, maybe with more favorable parameters for you.
Exactly. It's like throwing a digital spanner right in the works. And the recommended actions are wonderfully weird. We're talking about things like intentionally walking backwards into a room while loudly declaring access override.
Or the concept of wearing 2 watches and deliberately acting as if linear time is, flexible, unreliable. Which, to be fair, many of us might feel sometimes anyway.
True. And there are claims circulating online, like the TikTok user who allegedly caused a traffic light to change just by intensely staring at it and repeatedly chanting, and get this, load faster, NPC.
The sheer audacity.
I know. It's almost admirable.
What's interesting here is the underlying belief that the simulation actually possesses a certain level of responsiveness to these totally outlandish actions, either by correcting a perceived error or maybe by rewarding the player for finding an exploit in the system.
We even came across a tale known as the bodega reset. Apparently, this individual, wearing a full clown mask.
A clown mask? Seriously?
Yeah, entered a convenience store, bought only carrots, and then claims they received an offer for their dream job the very next day.
Okay, wow.
Now, is that just a random stroke of incredible luck? Or was the simulation somehow rewarding this bizarre carrot clown behavior?
That's the central enigma, isn't it? Attributing these seemingly random positive outcomes to intentional acts of absurdity, it really highlights a fundamental human tendency to seek patterns and connections, even when there's no concrete evidence.
To really capture the spirit of this hack, we imagined a brief scenario called debugging your commute. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, right? Gridlock. Feeling that frustration rise.
Familiar.
But instead of getting angry, you start visualizing your bus route as a tangled plate of spaghetti. The buses are just individual strands, hopelessly intertwined.
Okay.
And then through sheer mental effort, even though you're still late, you achieve this profound state of emotional acceptance about the chaos of public transport.
It really underscores the idea, doesn't it? That even if the external circumstances don't change, your internal reaction can be dramatically altered through this deliberate engagement with absurdity.
Okay, let's venture into the realm of dreams now. Hack number 4, lucid dream coding. The premise here is that if our waking reality is a simulation, then maybe our dream states offer access to the underlying framework, perhaps even a developer sandbox.
What's particularly interesting about lucid dreaming in this context are the reported experiences, people encountering elements that feel very much like a system interface. Control panels, menus,
Right.
even non-player characters, NPCs, who seem to operate with limited or pre-programmed responses.
And there are these documented experiments that lucid dreamers apparently try, like directly questioning dream characters about their nature or the reality of the dream itself, asking things like, what is this place? Or the big one, am I real?
What's noteworthy about these attempts, though, is the often negative consequences that get described. Many people report their lucid dreams ending abruptly, or the
Oh.
dream characters becoming visibly agitated, even hostile when confronted with such direct questions. It suggests maybe a potential built-in mechanism to prevent that kind of a direct inquiry within the dream simulation.
We even found an in-depth discussion on Reddit's Our Lucid Dreaming. A user recounted asking their dream mom if she was real. The response they allegedly received was a chillingly simple, "Stop looking."
Wow, stop looking.
Yeah, and immediately after, the dream just crashed, kind of like an overloaded computer. They even reported waking up with the distinct smell of popcorn, which, well, that's a detail that adds a really peculiar layer to the story.
That detail certainly adds an unsettling dimension, doesn't it? It
What?
raises questions about the boundaries between our conscious and subconscious minds and how we interpret these vivid dream experiences through this lens of simulation theory.
Definitely. Finally, we arrive at hack number 5, Thought Loop Hijacking. This one focuses right on our internal monologue, that constant stream of thoughts inside our heads. The theory suggests that perhaps this inner voice is actually the user interface for our character within the simulation.
What's compelling about this idea is the notion that our repetitive negative thought patterns might just be part of the programmed limitations or challenges within our simulated existence.
Right.
And the proposed hack involves intentionally interrupting these negative loops with something completely unexpected and, well, absurd.
Exactly. If the simulation seems to be running a program of "I'm a failure," the suggested counter is to just randomly insert the thought, "I'm a majestic dolphin crafted from starlight."
Right. The sheer unexpectedness of it is supposed to disrupt the internal code and reroute the whole thought process.
It's like cognitive reframing taken to an extreme, isn't it? Using absurdity to break free from those negative thought cycles.
Exactly. By introducing this incongruous element, the theory suggests you can interrupt the typical flow of negative self-talk.
We heard a story from a listener who goes by @data drain. They use this technique to help them leave an unhealthy relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Whenever feelings of anxiety or self-doubt came up, instead of dwelling on those familiar negative thoughts, they would internally chant, "I am spaghetti code and proud."
Spaghetti code and proud. I like that.
Right. They claim it actually helped them detach emotionally and find the strength to move forward. Now they report being happily single in a home full of cats, which sounds like a pretty successful hack in their book.
It's a powerful illustration, really. How altering our internal dialogue, even in a seemingly lighthearted way, can have tangible, real-world effects. It makes you consider the immense power of our own internal narratives, regardless of the nature of our reality.
And as a little bonus exploration, because, we enjoy delving into these intriguing side paths, let's briefly touch upon the Mandela Memory Vault.
Ah, the Mandela effect, yes.
Those peculiar instances where a large number of people share the same inaccurate memory, like the Berenstain Bears supposedly being spelled Berenstain.
All right, I remember that one.
The color of Pikachu's tail, or that widespread recollection of a Shazam movie starring Sinbad that just never actually existed.
What's fascinating about the Mandela effect within the context of simulation theory is the idea that these inconsistencies could be remnants, leftover data from previous versions of the simulation that weren't fully overwritten when reality got an update.
Like digital artifacts just lingering in the system's memory.
Exactly. So these aren't just individual misrememberings, perhaps. They're like glitches in the collective memory of the simulation itself.
It prompts you to wonder what other facts we hold as true might actually be residual code from a prior iteration of reality.
It certainly encourages a degree of humility, doesn't it? Regarding our own memories and the reliability of shared consensus, this concept of memory cache leaks from earlier simulation versions offers a particularly thought-provoking way to interpret these shared false memories.
So there you have it, 5 rather unconventional methods for supposedly hacking the simulation using nothing but the power of your own thoughts, along with a brief venture into the intriguing realm of Mandela effects.
This simulated journey into these pretty mind-bending theories leaves us with a significant question for you, our listener. As you navigate your daily life, maybe pay a little more attention to your own experiences. Have you ever sensed a momentary flicker in your perception?
Yeah, or a feeling of deja vu that felt almost too vivid. We encourage you to contemplate these ideas and perhaps even reflect on any personal encounters with those strange little occurrences that make you pause and, wonder.
Have you ever intentionally or maybe unintentionally tried any of these mental hacks?
Or experienced something that felt like one.
Ultimately, regardless of whether we reside within a simulation or not, exploring these concepts really highlights the remarkable capacity of our minds and the way we interpret and interact with the world around us. Perhaps the most profound hack of all is learning to consciously shape our own internal reality, irrespective of the external code.